If you're someone who gets nervous before presentations at work, whether that's anxious the night before and maybe can't sleep, or you feel that heart pounding spike just before you start, in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the 6 things I want you to do before walking into the room could help cut your nerves in half. So you can stop sweating and you can speak with more confidence and clarity no matter the stakes or the pressure. Now, as I've coached hundreds of people one-to-one in the last 8 years, what I've seen time and time again is the way that most people prepare presentations, all the way from pitches to project updates, actually makes the pressure and the nerves worse. Because most people prepare by slapping slides together and then filling in the information. And then they obsess over their wording. They're trying to make everything sound perfect, trying to find the right words. But even after hours of prep, they still are walking into the room super anxious. They tell me they stay up late the night before, agonizing over the details, rehearsing endlessly, trying to find just the right words. And straight up, I know this because I did the exact same thing in my career at Coca-Cola, where I spent 12 years of my 20 years in corporate America. But eventually I realized all the late night slaving and obsession wasn't calming my nerves. It was actually making them worse. The first way to cut your nerves in half before walking into the room is actually to prepare differently. Yes, you heard me. Because most people prepare in what we call bottom up, meaning they will grab old slides from other presentations and they will just start updating the information and the charts and the graphs and putting them on the page. But what if instead of preparing bottom up, you prepared top down? That means starting with your purpose. Before you obsess over any details, just ask yourself, what are we doing here? Why am I being asked to speak? What's being asked of me? Am I here to inform, to align, to update, to persuade, maybe to recommend? What's your objective in this whole thing? Because sometimes just clarifying the purpose alone dramatically reduces the pressure because it's no longer about how am I performing, but can I achieve my objective? Your brain then realizes, oh, I'm just here to give an update. I'm here to help them make a decision. I'm here to align the team and make sure we're moving the right direction and the same direction. I'm not here to solve world hunger or to give a TED talk, and no, my job isn't on the line. And once your purpose becomes clear, then what does the audience actually want to know about this becomes the more important question. Like, why would it matter to them? And that dramatically reduces the pressure of you performing when you walk into the room. Because now you're not trying to memorize 1,000 disconnected details. You understand your purpose and the big thing you're trying to communicate. The second thing I want you to do before walking into a room is connect your presentation to the value it brings your audience or the business. Because one of the biggest reasons people feel nervous at work is they're focused on the information. It's very myopic. They're not thinking about the relevance and why this matters to the audience. Again, most presenters, they know the details of their slides, but the gap in their understanding is, why does this matter to the business? Why would my audience care to learn this? And once you've clarified that for yourself, you're not focused on yourself as much. Because you're no longer presenting information, you're helping business, or you're helping your audience. You're helping them make decisions, reduce risk, improve the customer experience, maybe protect revenue, increase efficiency. It's no longer about you. You're moving something forward that's business related, and this is especially important when you're speaking to leadership. Because when you're focused on the value more than your worry about how you sound or how the performance is going, your nerves start to settle. The other key difference is that executives love this because they're listening for, what's the implication of this? What's the impact of this? What's the so what? Why does this matter? So before you build out your presentation, make sure you can clearly explain the business value behind what you're presenting. And please don't miss this. If the value becomes clear, the opening becomes much easier. And that's the next thing to prepare. Number 3, a simple, effective, but strong opening. And this is where a lot of people get tripped up. What you need to help cut your nerves in half is a simple, trusted, repeatable opening framework to get you going. And this is one of the fastest ways to reduce those nerves, because you know this, the nerves are the strongest at the start of you speaking and presenting. So when you're not sure what to say and your brain doesn't know where to start or where it's going, that anxiety ramps up really fast. Now, if you've watched 100 public speaking videos online or on YouTube, you're gonna hear things like, start with a shocking statistic, or tell an emotional story, or set the scene. And those are fine if you're giving a TED talk or a keynote, but this is work, people. And in a work setting, in a business presentation, or giving a project update, that's the wrong thing to do. You're not trying to give a keynote speech here. You're trying to help people understand something and move the conversation or the project or the business forward. And yes, storytelling can have its place in a business presentation, but in the right places. The intro is not one of those places in a business presentation. Now, I can appreciate when someone starts a meeting with, today we're going to talk about, but that's a little bit incomplete because people are running really hard into meetings and their brains are kind of scattered. I mean, you've walked into a meeting and not known what the meeting was about. So instead, I want you to use this simple 3-part framework. Number 1, context. Number 2, purpose. Number 3, the when. Let's talk about context. What do people already know walking into this meeting? Or what's happening right now in the business that I might need to remind people of why we're here? What background do they need? Now, when I do workshops at companies and I come in and say, have you ever walked into a meeting and wondered, what the heck am I doing here? Everybody laughs because they know. The easiest thing for you as a presenter and a communicator is to come in and give some context. Now, of course, I usually start with, good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for the time. And that gathers attention. It's also way better than the that most people do. So gather their attention and then give them some context by starting with a transition statement like, as you may know, or as you may recall. I'll give more background in a moment, but we had a customer problem arise last week and this caused a broader issue. Then you want to give your purpose statement, which is the today we're going to talk about. Very simple. This is before you ever even think about starting with an agenda. And the last part again is the win. Tell the audience what the win is for them or the win of the meeting is. What's the that? What's the in order to? What is this meeting happening for in hopes that we accomplish what? Think about this. Today I'm going to talk about blank in hopes that blank. But now if you give the context, purpose, and win, the audience knows why they're here. They know what matters. They know where the conversation is going. And their brains start to calm down and they engage with you because they know the win and the desired outcome of the meeting. And imagine you've got everybody on board. It's no longer about you. It's about the subjective and your nerves start to relax. Now, how much different is that than the mental scramble you felt? And you start with the agenda, which doesn't give any context of why we're here or what the win is. I remember sitting in meetings with one of the big 4 consulting companies, and every time they would just go through the agenda, I always wondered, why are we here? So imagine a meeting that starts, and in the first 30 seconds, you give these 3 things: the context, the purpose, and the win. They're declared outright. Let me give you a concrete example. Let's say you're given a project update on a customer service initiative. Instead of walking in and saying, okay, here's what is on the agenda and jumping into slides, you could say something like this. As you may recall, over the last quarter, we've seen an increase in customer complaints and slower response times across a few key service channels. And people in this room have been working on analyzing the root cause and implementing test solutions. Today, I want to walk you through the improvements we're testing to improve the customer service process and the early data we're seeing. The win of this meeting is that you're informed of the results and we get your feedback before we begin scaling further testing that will increase customer retention for a better product and our customer revenue. That's it. Very simple. 40 seconds, maybe tops, but think about the room. Now everybody understands the context, the purpose, and the win. And big picture for you, your brain and your nerves have settled down before you ever started presenting any of the material. Because yeah, you can have that memorized, but it's a very easy flow. It's a very easy framework that you can use. And you're no longer trying to perform. You're trying to guide people through a conversation with a clear purpose and clear direction. And notice what's happening emotionally. Your brain's no longer thinking about, I have to impress people, I need to sound smart. It feels more like help them understand the plan for the meeting and the win of this time they spend with me. That's a very different feeling than all the pressure we usually feel and all the anxiety we usually feel, right? See, the clarity and the simplicity reduces the uncertainty and the anxiety. And when your brain knows where the conversation is going before you walk in, it becomes much easier to focus and walk in calm, which when you're calm, that comes across confidently. Now, next in your preparation is that once the purpose is clarified and your storyline is clear and the business value is clear and your opening is clear, the next thing to do for preparation is to run through your slides at what we call a quicker pace. And this is in your prep. So this could be the night before. This is important because a lot of nervous presenters rehearse slowly and they obsess over every sentence and they try to memorize everything perfectly, but that just creates more pressure. What if you did this instead? Quickly click through your slides and do the headlines of my slides. And the key thing on each slide, tell a clear story. And also ask this, could someone who skims this deck or this presentation still understand the big idea and the key takeaways? Because if the story and the slides align, something important starts happening mentally for you as the presenter who used to get nervous. You stop feeling like you're trying to survive the presentation slide by slide, and you start feeling like you're guiding people through a conversation. No longer about impressing, it's about guiding and serving and facilitating. And yes, of course, you'll still want to rehearse a number of times, but now you're rehearsing for flow and familiarity, not perfection. Now you're focused on the transitions and where the conversation is going. And the huge benefit of that for you is that you become much less likely to lose your train of thought because now you're following the flow. You know where you're heading. You're not memorizing a script because even if your wording changes, you still know where you're going. And that's key. I've had countless people who've done dry runs where it's not a script, it's not memorized, it's just the flow of it. They present it differently 3 times we practice it. And maybe there's a key thing, but there's not like a script that if they forget a word. And think about this. If you think back on the best workplace presentations that you've ever seen, they felt like conversations with leaders rather than performances, especially if you're giving updates. Even if you're persuading people to an idea, the goal isn't to sound robotic and perfectly scripted. The goal is to calmly guide people through your clear thinking and to clear decisions. So the fifth thing to do to cut your nerves in half before walking into the room is some light scenario planning. Now, I don't mean catastrophizing or assuming everything's going to fall apart. I mean just asking yourself this: what are the 2 to 3 things that are most likely to go wrong? And if something unexpected happens, then you have a plan. Because a surprising amount of confidence comes from simply knowing you have options. Now, in my 20 years in corporate, the scenario I faced, and maybe you faced, is what happens when the AV doesn't work? Or what happens when it goes down? The slides won't load, the monitor won't connect. And this actually happened to me once in a really important meeting at Coca-Cola. My computer wouldn't connect to the screen and we didn't have much time to troubleshoot. But thankfully, I had already saved a PDF of the presentation to my computer. Now, think about a PDF. It's a 3 megabyte file versus a 25 megabyte PowerPoint file. So I just hit reply all to the meeting invite, shot it to the meeting attendees, sent it to the meeting attendees, and we walked through it together on our computers. Problem solved. But for you, psychologically, having a backup plan matters. I can't tell you how many times people have said, oh my gosh, all the nerves and the adrenaline hit when this didn't work. But when your brain no longer feels trapped and it knows I've got options and you've thought about a few scenarios, that's a huge part of holding confidence, if you will. Not knowing everything goes perfectly. Look, we all know things don't go perfectly, but believing you can recover if it doesn't, that's stress relieving. Now, one more practical thing on the scenario planning, and this should almost go without saying: give yourself time. Knowing not everything will go exactly the way you want it to, but knowing you can recover, that's stress relieving. And one more key practical tip here. And speaking of scenario planning, you absolutely want to be just proactive in thinking about what questions they might ask. So just look at your presentation, use AI, put it into AI, and then get feedback back. What questions am I leaving out? Are they critical questions that I need to put in? Or are they questions that I just need to have in my back pocket if they ask me about it and start talking about it? That can be super helpful too, because questions are good. Dialogue is good. So you want that in a presentation, but you need to think ahead a little bit on what are the 3 to 4 questions they're likely going to ask you about. And again, I've used AI for this. It's a great help that can help you scenario plan the questions. Now, the next idea should really go without saying. You should give yourself enough time by arriving early to a presentation. A lot of unnecessary nerves come from rushing into the room at the last second, troubleshooting technology under pressure, and trying to mentally and physically settle when people are staring at you. Arriving early gives you time to test the technology, settle yourself, get familiar with the room. It lets your nervous system calm down before the meeting ever starts. Last year, I was doing a workshop at a major brand in downtown Atlanta, and I was planning to arrive about 50 minutes early, but between leaving 10 minutes late, traffic being crazier than normal, and a really unexpected snafu at the gate of the company, yes, full gate security, then I had to get in the lobby and wait to be escorted through the building. By the time I got into the room, I had 2 minutes to spare, and let's just say I was a sweaty mess at that point. So for you, arrive early. And guess what? The same thing applies to Zoom meetings. Be prepared early. Test your microphone, test your screen share. Have the presentation up and open on your computer, for crying out loud. Close distracting tabs and notifications in the background, because a lot of nerves come from feeling rushed and scattered or technically unprepared before the conversation begins. Last year, I was referred a guy who was a great presenter in person, but he struggled to present virtually. And when we broke it down, it was because he was going from meeting to meeting to meeting and rushing into major presentations and feeling scattered. Instead, block the 30 minutes before a Zoom meeting that you have to present it. That way, clear a couple items, go do your thing, come back, get everything up and ready, and you will be amazed at how much more comfortable you feel running into that meeting. I wish with Zoom meetings we would give ourselves more buffer, but we don't. You should, and it will help settle your nerve. Okay, the last thing I want you to do before walking into the room that will cut your nerves in half is, shocker, breathe and reconnect to how you're serving your audience and the value you're sharing. Now, if you did that the night before, this becomes easy. The other piece is you can just breathe and think about your opening line. Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. Today, I'm going to talk about, or good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. As many of you know, we've been working on. Because again, even after all the preparation and the structure, you're still going to feel a little bit of angst. It's human, it's normal. And with a nerve spike, most people's attention collapses inward. How's this going to sound? Am I going to mess this up? Is my voice going to shake? These are all some version of the question, what will they think of me because of this? But the moment before a presentation is not the moment to focus on yourself. It's the moment to reconnect to the people you're there to serve. So before you walk in, slow yourself down physically. Take at least 3 slow, deep breaths and reconnect to your purpose of the meeting by saying to yourself something like, I'm just here to inform them of the salient facts of the project. I'm here to help share insights that help them make better decisions. Just going through that process scientifically will help you calm your nervous system. And look, here's the reality of nerves. When you can shift your focus off of yourself and onto helping someone and helping a specific audience, especially with speaking, your nerves naturally reduce and you stop feeling the pressure of performing or that all eyes are on you. You start feeling more like you're facilitating a conversation that has purpose and meaning. You've got a key message and good direction and business value that you're sharing. All of the things we talked about in this video. And look, if you're ready to stop overthinking presentations, communicate with more confidence, and speak like the clear, confident authority you want to be at work, I'd invite you to watch our free Crush Your Nerves Masterclass. Put a link in the show notes. We'll walk you through the practical frameworks we use and we teach in our confidence and credibility system that help professionals reduce their nerves, communicate more clearly under pressure, and build real confidence inside of themselves for workplace conversations and presentations. And if you're someone who says, I get super anxious speaking and presenting, I'm putting a link to our diagnostic quiz. It'll help you understand the core reasons you get anxious and nervous before you speak, and it's going to help you overcome those, which will help you show up confidently at work and keep your career moving forward.